I recorded that whole thing and it didn't say anything. Okay. Hey, hello, how are you? If you're doing good, that's good. If you're doing bad, that's bad, and I hope it gets good. Better. Much better. Anywho, hi, hello, my name is Ozzy, otherwise known as the Angelic Goblin. If you know me by either name, you probably already follow me on my socials, which is cool, fun, hello, hi, welcome. I love y'all. I love all of you who follow me. Mwah. Anywho, I'll stop being weird. I can't help it. It's just in my nature. Anywho, last time I am pretty sure is when Reina and Mion started acting suspicious, a little bit weird. They were talking about something, and we asked him about it, and Reina snapped. She went cold turkey on us. She just stared at us. She called us a liar. So, in this upcoming episode, we're probably going to be dealing with the aftermath of that and figuring out what the heck is going on in this town. Anywho, I hope y'all have a good day and you enjoy. Leave a like, comment, subscribe if you like. Thank you, goodbye. It's a headache. Not a very nice way to start the day. Indeed, the worst. What's wrong? Keiichi? You don't look so well. When did you go to sleep? It seemed that my mom had noticed my sullen state. Yesterday, I kept on waking up in the middle of the night. Without a doubt, I felt a presence. I felt the presence of someone standing in front of my door. I told myself repeatedly that it was my imagination and forced myself to try and sleep. Except, not being able to stand it, I gathered up my courage and opened the door. Of course, there wasn't anyone there. I think I did this 3 times throughout the night. Maybe I just didn't remember doing it any more than that. Even though I was able to get to the breakfast table without incident, I still didn't feel at ease. It might be a cold. I don't really have an appetite. My, you do seem a little warm. Well, can you make it to school? Technically, I did go to a school, but it was mostly self-study. Wouldn't matter much if I missed a day, would it? It could have been that I hadn't been feeling well for the last few days because I really did have a cold. If I took some medicine and got a good day of rest, I might be able to greet everyone with a smile tomorrow. Startled, I looked back and forth between the entrance and the clock. It was 10 minutes later than when I usually met up with Reina. It was Reina. Reina-chan came to get you. What are you going to do? You're going to take the day off? Reina was a good girl. She might be somewhat quirky, but she was certainly cute. The lunches she made were delicious, and she always looked out for me. That doesn't mean anything. That means literally nothing. Psychopaths can cook, and psychopaths can look attractive. Psychopaths can also feign. Is it feign? Fake. I just won't use a word that I don't know the exact meaning of. Psychopaths can fake being nice. They can also fake liking you or looking out for you just 'cause. Like, it doesn't matter. If all of these things can be true, and she can also be crazy. There's no reason both of them can't be synonymous. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason why she can't be a terrible, crazy person, and you can also have whatever feelings you have for her. Why should I be so scared of something like that? It wasn't Reina's fault. It's probably mine. No. It had to have been my cold. Just had to be. It isn't. I'm so sorry. I'll rest. Sorry. And I'll go send her off for you. Mom headed off to the door. I'd have to pass by the entrance to get back to my room. I didn't have the nerve to meet with Reina. So I wrapped myself in a blanket on the sofa and closed my eyes. I was so sleep-deprived I quickly fell into a deep slumber. If only I had only intended to lie down for a bit, but it was almost noon when I woke up. I called out to my parents, but they didn't seem to be around. On the table I found my lunch prepared and a note. Mom and Dad had apparently driven off to somewhere far away. Likely had to do with Dad's work. This happened every so often, so it wasn't that unusual. They would probably be back sometime after dinner. On the note it said, "The insurance card is in the cabinet, take it and go to the hospital." There was also a well-drawn map to the hospital. Whoa! What did I just lose? I lost a ball. I lost the ball, guys. I found the ball. I didn't lose a ball, guys. I thought I lost a ball. Oh god, how am I going to put it back on? I got it. No, I didn't. Yeah, twist that shit. Okay. That's right. I hadn't been there before, so I didn't know exactly where it was. I had a light lunch, although it was really just leftovers from the morning, and just in case went to the hospital. To the hospital, my good sir. Normally, I'd never be here in the middle of a weekday. Just walking around like this had me feeling guilty. It was an odd feeling. Following my mom's map, I took a road I usually never used. After walking for a bit, the hospital sign came into view. Erie Clinic. Oh. It was written rather stylishly on the sign. Erie? The clinic wasn't very big, but based on the scale of the rest of Hinamizawa, it was far too grand. There was a parking lot and even a reserved spot for buses. They must be making a mint. Did it really say making a mint? I don't know what that means. I spaced out in the air-conditioned waiting room until it was my turn to be seen. Maibara-san, please make your way to the examination room. After properly answering all of the chatty doctor's questions, he responded with the old, "It's probably a cold." He gave me a shot and 3 days' worth of medicine. Thought it was a little overboard, but if it would clear away the gloomy feeling I'd been having lately, then it was worth it. Brother, that is not gonna work. It might, but brother, I don't think it's gonna work. I settled the bill and took a quick trip to the washroom. As I was leaving, I overheard a conversation between some elderly people who seemed to be regulars at the clinic. Of course, I had no intention of eavesdropping. If it just wasn't for that word, must have been an Onikakashi. I wonder. She was still pretty young. I've just eloped. With whom? The man from Tokyo who visits every season. That young one with the big camera. Didn't you know they were getting along pretty well? Were they talking about Tomotaki-san? I could feel my ears perking up. I don't know about that. You have to make preparations before you elope. Leave a note or quit their job or something. It's an elopement because they didn't leave a note or a message. The thought that I'll never see that young nurse's face again makes me rather sad. Takano-san is an upstanding young woman. She'll be fine wherever she goes. So her name was Takano-san. That woman with Tomitake-san. Why they both gotta have T names? And she worked at this clinic? Yeah, I thought we knew that. Maybe I didn't know that. No, I thought we knew that. Oyashiro-sama's shadow was following me everywhere I went. Oyashiro-sama's shadow was following me everywhere I went. I started listening more closely, but they began talking about fishing, and it didn't seem like they were going to revisit the topic. I gave up and left. Thus, even though I was separated from the daily monotony of school, I wasn't able to escape from Oyashiro-sama's shadow. But of course, Oyashiro-sama was the guardian deity of this place, and of Hinamizawa. As long as I was in Hinamizawa, I wouldn't be able to escape. Indeed. Indubitably. Indibus. Maybe it was because I was walking outside, but my appetite had suddenly returned. Might as well buy a snack with the change from the examination fee on the way home. Contemplating that, I turned onto a familiar street. At that moment, I heard a car horn abruptly honk behind me. Was I really walking so far into the middle of the road I'd be in a car's way? I moved further off to the side, but the horn was still honking at me. I turned around, peeved. Oh. Maibara-san. Good day to you. It was Oishi-san. Ah! He stepped out of his car, AC on full blast, and waved at me. What's up today? School on break? Just not feeling well, so I took the day off. I was about to buy lunch and head back home. That's great. I'm just about to get lunch myself. Would you mind going together? If you're not feeling up for it, then don't mind me. I was just going to lie down after going home anyway. I didn't really have a cold. I doubt you'd want to be at one of these local places. Let's go into town. It's a bit of a drive, is that alright? No, a pretty good place. Finally begun to understand Oishi-san's roundabout way of saying things. He probably wanted to talk to me about stuff that would be difficult to discuss while in Hinamizawa. Damn straight. Damn straight. I went with Oishi-san, riding in his frigid car. It was almost as if the bright sunlight outside was a lie. Sorry about calling you so late last night. Did your parents get angry at you? No. I recalled Reina, who had been listening to the phone conversation all that time, separated from me by just the door. Even now, in the brightness of the sunlight, the thought still creeped me out. Howdy. And it's going good. It's going good. You missed some freaky stuff. You missed some freaky stuff. It was not okay. I got chills. I had to take a second to recoil. Even now, in the brightness of the sunlight, the thought still creeped me out. What a big bump. With the big bump that jolted the car, the road connecting to the city changed from dirt to pavement. My head swiveled back with a sudden realization. That's right. This was where Tomitake-san died. Hit a snag on the investigation regarding Tomitake-san. Yes, in the game. In the game, it was freaky. There's not a lot of, visuals in this game, but the way that they conveyed one of the characters having, a mental snap was insanely effective with how little visuals they had. It was, I don't like it. I don't like it. Oishi-san spoke while peering at me from the corner of his eye. They believed it was caused by hallucinogens, given how he was clawing out his own throat. Yeah, but a drug that could cause that to happen so suddenly is extremely hard to come by. Bear in mind, of course, the autopsy was done with that premise in mind, but we didn't find any leads. Ugh. Do you know that thing you see in comics all the time? Where there's a drug that if you put it in them, doesn't leave any traces? It exists. Succinycolol? Something or other. Well, it's pretty common. But you see, there doesn't seem to be any kind of that drug that would cause Tomitake-san to react like that. Then you're saying the police concluded Tomitake-san just died from the curse? Couldn't help but feel that the police were worthless. Yeah. Just wanted the idea of the curse to be disassociated from Tomitake-san's mysterious death. Unfortunately, that's how it looks right now. Putting aside the cause of death, without a doubt he was surrounded by a group of people and had taken a beating before he died. That was no curse, but an incident that unquestionably involved other humans. That made me a bit relieved. Yeah, because that means it can be solved. If it's not another person, it can't be solved. Which is spooky. We passed in front of the rather desolate, but still busier than Hinamizawa train station. The car pulled into a restaurant parking lot, and I followed Oishi-san into the shop. No. It was pretty crowded, but there was only adults at this hour. Of course there wouldn't be children in here, in the middle of a weekday. 2, please, non-smoking. This way, please. When you are ready to order, please call me over. We were led by a peculiarly dressed waitress to our table. I sat with Oishi-san in the booth. Ho ho ho. So what do you think? Aren't the waitresses' outfits cute here? Backwards. Huh? Well, I guess. This shop is always quite busy. It's more about the waitresses than food, you see. Uh-huh. Oishi-san, you're leering. Am I really? That looks banging. Regardless of how the waitress looked, the food was decent enough. Finishing our meals while talking about some insane topic, Oishi-san's after-meal cup of coffee arrived at the table. Yesterday we talked about Hinamizawa's past, didn't we? Yeah, that was the village of man-eating demons or something like that. You said that so casually. I didn't know about it myself, so I asked my grandmother about it this morning. Oishi-san took out the notepad that was stuffed into his breast pocket. Turns out that Hinamizawa used to be called Onigafuchi, or Ogre's Abyss. Onigafuchi. That's quite the name. The name is still around. The marsh. Oh, yeah, that's... Yep, the Onigafuchi Marsh. Marsh. Yep. The marsh where the Shinto's wife drowned herself is still called Ogre's Abyss. It's said that the depths of that marsh connect to the realm of demons. Of course, nobody had told me anything about such an ominous marsh. You see, it appears they were both feared and revered. A respect born of fear. I guess you could say it was kind of a deification. A village of inhumane creatures. Seems the demons were senin or mountain-dwelling mystics of sorts, taking villagers with incurable illnesses into the ogre's abyss and healing them. For example, even if we are calling them demons, Tengu, long-nosed goblins, or senin would be a more apt description. Okay. They don't seem like such terrible people, even though they were called demons. But they were still man-eating demons, according to the story my grandma told me. As payment for treating the son's illness, let us eat the mother who brought him here, was apparently how things went. The price of curing her son was herself? That's unsettling. Of course the mother took her son and ran, and then, you see, all the people who lived in Onigafuchi, the demons chased them down, rounded them up, and captured them. The entire village, apparently. That's quite a frightening thing to imagine. In the end, it seems both the mother and son were caught and eaten. The end. There's a problem with this story. Both witnesses in this story were eaten, so nobody would be able to tell the tale. Huh? There are plenty of old fables like this. In contrast to the ghastly tale, Oishi-san laughed heartily while sipping his coffee. But, well, there are quite a few other tales, where the demons from Onigafuchi band together to capture their prey. I recalled that Mion said that the village united and fought against the dam construction. I saw similarities with how that part about unification overlapped. Normally, they hunted down a single person and they chose who it was going to be beforehand. Huh? That caught my attention. Oishi-san also appeared to be pondering what it meant. My grandmother told me that you must never interfere with the demon's hunt. You should just hole up in your house and hide under the covers, she said. So, what does this all mean? It means you mustn't ever help or protect the prey. As long as you don't disturb the demon's hunt, no harm will fall upon the villagers. It seems there's that kind of rule. Basically, don't help the victims. Pretend you didn't see the atrocities. In other words, what happens if you break the rule? Well, they're man-eating demons after all. Yeah, they'll probably eat you. Many parts of that tale caught my attention. Parts of the story he told me overlapped with his theory that the perpetrators were all the village families. Even if it wasn't the whole village, it was conceivable that the villagers were hiding under the covers and leaving them to die when there's a group that was on their hunt, wasn't it? I didn't dare to speak. Then, Oishi-san, I guess it looks like it's either the village families or a group of villagers perpetrating the crimes? What do you think, Maebara-san? Ah, excuse me. Another cup of coffee, please? That's what I wanted to know. It seemed that we were both waiting for the other to say the last part. I waited for the waitress to finish pouring coffee before speaking. Last year I had a nagging feeling when Satoshi-kun disappeared. Oishi-san muttered as he watched the milk swirl around in his coffee. So those friends of Satoshi-san, meaning your group of friends. Maebara-san, I had a bit, really just a little bit, okay, of a background checking done on them. If Oishi-san had said this to me before, I would have been furious, since he told me earlier not to suspect my friends. But as I was now, I couldn't. This might sound pretty stupid, Maebara-san. If you feel that it's stupid, please say so. I'll just stop. Oishi-san was wearing that most serious expression that I'd ever seen from him. It was as if he was telling me to prepare myself and listen. There were quite a few things I regretted hearing from Oishi-san, but none of them were as threatening as this. A little voice inside me was screaming like an alarm. Stop, Keiichi. This was probably the last one. Took a deep breath and silenced that voice. I would not run from the truth. Please. That was all I could utter. Oishi-san stared into my eyes silently for a few moments. After he was certain I was ready, he began. Terrifying. I hate it. I hate it so much. The victim of an incident in the first year was the overseer. A few weeks prior, he had an altercation with Mion Sonozaki-san. Oh my god. Multiple altercations. Oishi-san had said before that Mion had defied the dam project vehemently. Well, it wasn't hard to imagine how she'd be if she got worked up. In the second year, the married couple who supported the dam project died in that accident, right? They had a daughter. Her name was Satoko Hojo-san. Huh? Satoko meaning Satoko? Oishi-san's look told me that my voice was too loud. I realized it was as well, and quickly quieted down. The Shinto priest and his wife who died in the third year, you see. Their daughter was Rika Furude-san. Rika-chan was the housewife who died in the fourth year. You know already, don't you? It was the step-aunt of Satoko Hojo-san. She was in her aunt and uncle's custody, so she had lost both of her parents in the accident. She lived in the victim's house. I could tell my lips were getting dry. I didn't even have the wits to keep my mouth from hanging agape. I had thought it was nothing but a bizarre incident, one that I could easily distance myself from. But clicking and clacking, it had snuck all the way to my feet. The one who disappeared the fourth year, by the way? He was Satoko-san's older brother. Wait, just a second. It took everything I had to finally say that. I gulped down a glass of water and once again wiped my face with a napkin. Calm down, Keiichi Maebara. But Oishi-san was relentless. Instead of waiting for me to finish sorting out my feelings, he started speaking again. The last of the things I shouldn't have heard. All of the victims seem to be connected to your group of friends. That has to be just a coincidence. Maebara-san, keep it down. Everyone's looking. Mion? Satoko? Rika-chan? So what if they're connected? You're telling me all of my friends? It couldn't be. It just couldn't be. Oh, Reina's different, isn't she? Reina isn't connected with the victims at all. Reina Ryugu-san was living in a suburb of Ibaraki Prefecture up until last year. Well, it's true she hadn't directly met any of the victims. He said it in a roundabout way. Is he saying she's also connected? Actually, I looked into her before Ryugu-san moved to Hinamizawa. She was suspended from school. It seems she went through her school building and broke all of the windows. Reina did that? She broke all the windows at her school. That same silly Reina had... I couldn't even imagine it. It seems then, after 3 days suspension, she didn't return to school. She went to her neurologist and was diagnosed with dysautonomia? She was given weeks of counseling and medication. Dysautonomia? What is dysautonomia? Is he gonna say? I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up right now. A complex of set of conditions characterized by autonomic nervous system dysfunction manifests clinically with diverse array of symptoms. What is it? What is it? Oh! Wait a minute. What? Hold on. Okay. So it's a nervous system thing. It affects your automatic body processes. And there's no cure for it. Crazy. I wonder if it was something like a nervous breakdown. I'd heard that it happens to people who are really methodical or overly sensitive. Neither of those matched Reina's easygoing personality. And in the counselor's medical report, he recorded all of the conversation he had with Reina-san. It shows up in quite a bit of that. What did? Or it shows up in quite a bit at that. What did? I pressed forward carelessly. There couldn't be anything more for me to regret. She mentioned the word Oyashiro-sama. Without having been there? It felt like someone's stone-cold hand was caressing my back. Why? Why had Reina spoken of Oyashiro-sama before she had even come to Hinamizawa? Seems that the Oyashiro-sama she spoke of was like a ghost, appearing in her house every night, standing over her pillow looking down at her. My mind froze. I couldn't process what I was being told. A while after that, she moved to Hinamizawa. Ah, that's right. She's not an outsider. Huh? According to their residency register, the Ryugu family used to reside in Hinamizawa. Oh hell. Oh hell. Oh hell. Reina-san moved to Ibaraki right after she finished elementary school. My mind went completely blank. It was similar to the static you'd see on a blank TV channel. My ears began ringing as I lost all sense of comprehension. Maebara-san, are you alright? Shall we stop? Those words brought me back. I couldn't let it end here. Now I understand Reina. And how about the last victim, Tomotaki-san? Who was he connected with? Irritated, I let out one final reprisal. All of them. Have you forgotten, Maebara-san? Didn't you all spend the night of the festival together quite merrily? Quite a few of the officers saw you enjoying yourselves. Now there was nothing I could respond with. I fell silent as my brain turned to mush. Yep. We should get going. Maebara-san, did you take your afternoon medicine? I had completely forgot about the medicine I had gotten until Oishi-san said that. Got another glass of water and we left the shop after I chugged it down. Poor kid, man. Poor kid. We got in the car and returned to Hinamizawa via the rough road. Never really paid attention when I was on my bike, but did cars normally shake this much? It was almost as if the road was desperately trying to tell me something. But that big jolt was from a difference in elevation on the road when it changed from cement to dirt. I was certain that I heard Tomotaki-san scream. I sat in silence, just letting myself be shaken by the car. I'll drop you off at your house. You missed school because you were ill, correct? My apologies for the long conversation. Why did you talk to me? Blurted out the question. Really, just blurted it out. I didn't expect an answer. I did check with you first, didn't I? We should just stop. Not that. Why did you reach out to me? I understood quite well that Oishi-san was investigating the string of suspicious incidents. Oishi. But why was he telling me all this? Yeah. I knew nothing and I couldn't help. Everything Oishi-san spoke of was news to me. First of all, what could I, having just moved here, know? By chance, if there was a reason for Oishi-san to reach out to me, then it would have to be that I looked suspicious to Oishi-san, as I was part of Mion's circle of friends. I'm retiring this year. Plan on moving away after retiring as my grandma wants. So while I'm still on the case, I want to bring the truth behind this incident to light. So, Oishi-san, you suspected them, don't you? All of them. Oishi-san didn't really give a response. Felt a little late, but I thought it was his way of showing a bit of consideration for my feelings. This is mostly my intuition from 30 years on this job. Maebara-san, you're the one in danger. Huh? I wanted to reply with, that was absurd, but in my downtrodden state, I couldn't bring myself to say it. I'll be retiring this year, so I won't be at the Watanagashi next year. So I went to settle things. In other words, he was insinuating that the next Watanagashi, I might be the victim. Been warned by the chief as well. Each incident in the string of cases has been solved, so don't bring it up again. Or so I was told. This is the pressure that I'm facing. Pressure from what? Someone in Hinamizawa. We've arrived. Is this fine? Freaky. After some time and the car finally reached the path to my house. The clock read 2 p.m. I was surprised so little time had passed since we ate. It was hot outside the car. The chirping of the Higurashi hurt my ears. I love and hate how cicadas sound. I won't mind if you just forgot everything I told you today. But I'm still going to keep investigating. I'll end Oyashiro-sama's curse this year. So you're saying I should contact you if anything happens? It's fine. Just can't contact me when you feel you have to, Maebara-san. I wasn't collected enough to understand Oishi-san's roundabout way of saying it. Be sure to take it easy. I'm sorry for throwing all this at you while you're taking a day off because you're sick. Didn't really give any sort of response. I'll always be on your side. If anything, believe that. I'll be off now. The tires crunched over the dirt road as the car made a U-turn and disappeared into the cloud of kicked-up dust. Felt like I was watching a boat only throw me a lifesaver in shark-infested waters before disappearing into the distance. Got it. It's a whole statement. That was the first time I thought Oishi-san was being unfair, telling me I was going to be the next victim than just saying to contact him if something happened. That this wasn't a criminal investigation. He was fishing, and I was just the bait dangling off the line. Would the fish be the perpetrator? Or was it really just Oyashiro-sama's curse? Oyashiro-sama's curse? Either way, the bait would be swallowed whole. Damn it, I don't want to die. For some time, I could do nothing but stare at the puddle of water left behind by the AC from the car. Understandable. I don't even know what I would do. I really don't. I really have no idea. Like, you can't confide in your friends because all your friends may or may not want to kill you next year. One of your friends that you did try to confide in snapped at you and then eavesdropped on your conversation with a police officer. The other two are literal children, and your parents are out of town for some reason. Like, there is no one for him to go to, and nothing that he can actually do to get out of this situation, which sucks. I can't imagine, like, the pit I'd have in my stomach constantly. Wonder how much time had passed since I laid down. It was getting dark outside. My body was soaked in sweat. It would probably be a good idea to change my sheets. At that moment, the phone downstairs rang. It was probably Mom. Mom was quite the worrywart. Maybe she had called many times, but I just didn't notice. Hello? Hello, this is the Maebara residence. Oh, he's alive. Hello. This is Mion. How you doing? Is this one of Keiichi's friends? Keiichi is resting now, but shall I put him on? Huh? Is this his dad? Sorry. Idiot. Bugger. You fell for it. Huh? Kei-chan? After our exchange, we both had a good laugh together, except I was suspicious of her even as we were laughing. Was everybody really involved in the incidents? The fact that I couldn't say no saddened me. I'm relieved that you seem well. Reina was really worried, you know. Sadako-chan was happy and said you got what you deserved. Rika-chan said, how unfortunate he's sick. Looks like everyone was making a big deal out of it. Well, you know. So, Kei-chan, is now a bad time to come pay you a visit? A visit? No, it's okay. It's not like I'm dying. My grandma made a ton of mochi. My grandma made a ton of mochi, you see. I was told to share them, so I'll bring you some. Hey now, you'll catch my cold. Not to worry, both Reina and I are too stupid to catch a cold. What? What does that mean? What does that mean? See ya. Be there in a bit. She hung up cheerfully. Reina's coming too? That's what it sounded like. I was still concerned about meeting Reina, but I guess if she was with me... No. No. I heard the doorbell 10 minutes later. How are you feeling? Oh, nasty. Did you take your medicine and rest? I did just that, actually. Thank goodness you look well. I was worried. Sorry, I'll be fine tomorrow. Mion showed a complete lack of concern for someone who's recovering, and Rada looked like she was worried about me from the bottom of her heart. It didn't look like there was anything behind those expressions. Thought we might hang out for a bit, but it looks like you're not quite in the condition for it. You don't say. Seeing my face appeared a bit sullen. Then here, Keiichi-kun. These are the mochi that Mi-chan's grandma made. Reina held out the package wrapped in newspaper. There might be about 5 in here. It was quite hefty. Oh, thanks. Send my regards to your grandma, Mion. Yep. There's one that I made in there as well. Wonder if Keiichi-kun can guess which one. This is Kei-chan's homework since he missed the club meeting today. There were letters on each mochi, so I'll ask you tomorrow. What? Were you checking if I was feeling better, or did you just come here for club activities? Yep, looking fine. Guess you'll be able to make it tomorrow. Man, what are you gonna do if my fever comes back because of your shenanigans? Mi-chan, we shouldn't be making such a racket. Let's go. The other people here will get angry. Both of them thought my parents were home. It was because the entranceway was a mess. You're right, let's get going. By the way, Kei-chan. Yeah? Oh, don't do it. Oh, she did it. Oh, she did it. Oh, she did it. Oh. No, not Mion too. Oh, God, it gives me the ick. It gives me the ickies. I don't feel good when they do that. What did you eat for lunch? The sudden question startled me, and I went wide-eyed when I saw Mion. I had never seen her like that. It was a highly unsettling visage. Hold on, let me... No. 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 Nay, I say. Nay. This one's a lot creepier. I just wanted to see. Okay. But why is she asking me about what I ate for lunch? What she said was so inane, it was almost meaningless. The way she said it, it was almost like she didn't even care at all about what I ate. I ate out. She must have suspected that I was with Oishi-san. Anyway, I felt that if I hesitated or tried to change the subject, they'd read too deep into it, so I tried answering as quickly as possible. Except, contrary to the effects I had made, there was a pause before they replied. Now they're both doing it. Why? Why are you guys like this? Why? Why can't you just let the man live? Just let the man live. So you ate out for lunch, Keiichi-kun? The glimmer from Reina's eyes had changed at some point as well. God. Hold on, now let me see both of them. Let me see both of them with the thing. Let me see both of them with the original. Yeah, no, not as scary. Not as scary at all. Terrifying. That is terrifying. They're just so big. The original style, they're just so, like, they're gigantic. It was now sharp, as if to make me feel the feigned ignorance behind her words even more. As if she already knew. That's how it looked to me. Well, was it good? Why are you asking me this? Mion was speaking in an unusually low tone, almost as if she knew that I had eaten out at the restaurant in town. No, I'm overthinking this. I mean, both of them should have been in school at lunchtime. There was no way that they could have known where I was. Seems like you were with a rather austere-looking older guy. Who was he? Flop. The package with the mochi I was holding slipped out of my hands. I could tell the blood had drained from my face, making me go pale. Oh? Oh, Keiichi-kun. Who was he? Could it be the person from before, I wonder? Could feel the back of my throat going dry. Fucking creepy. They're so creepy. This was no longer a bluff. It was never a bluff. They knew everything? How do you know that? It took everything I had to finally force those words from my throat. My knees were shaking. Because there's nothing this old... Oh, wrong person. Because there's nothing this old man doesn't know. Mion sneered knowingly, and her laugh seemed to carry on forever. So, Kei-chan, what did you talk about? Seems like you got pretty worked up over it, too. We weren't talking about you guys. Didn't have anything to do with you or Reina. Isn't it a bit strange to hear our names come up even though nobody asked about that? Reina's unwavering gaze pierced... Yeah, you fucked up. You shouldn't have meant you should. God, her face is so creepy, dude. Hold on. Not that. How do I... That is terrifying. She is terrifying. I don't like it. I really don't. It makes me feel bad. And my feel goods are feeling really bad because of that freaky face that she's making. God! Reina's unwavering gaze pierced through my eyes and peered further inside me. I dug my own grave. My heart was throbbing so much it felt like it was going to explode. Well, whatever you're trying to hide, this old man already sees through it all. Remember that. Couldn't even shake my head. Took everything I had to stop my teeth from chattering. She never let her gaze break from mine, even as she tilted her head slightly. Keiichi-kun, you don't look so good. I think you should lie down. That's true. We should both head back home. As if nothing happened. They both giggled at each other and started making their way out. I hadn't moved a muscle since I had dropped the package of mochi. As they left, the door slowly closed behind them. All I could do was stare, as if I couldn't move until the door was completely closed. No! 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 Just as the door was about closed, it opened again slightly with a sudden creak, sending my heart racing once again. A single eye peered in through that narrow slit, and Mion's hawkish gaze peered at me once again. See you, Kei-chan. Yeah. I'd hate it if you'd miss school tomorrow, alright? I don't know what else to do. The door closed. Wasn't able to move a muscle even after their low laughter died off into the distance. The silence once again enveloped the room. Terrifying. They are so scary. They are high schoolers. They shouldn't be that scary, but they're terrifying. Ah, my knuckles. My knuckles. God. Ew. Icky. Coming back to my senses, the first thing I did was lock the door. Reasonable. Second thing you should do, call the detective. Call him and ask for refuge. Or something. Call him, find out where your parents are. Get it all together, because this ain't flying. This is not flying at all. Terrifying. Then they knew what Oishi-san and I had talked about? Why? How? No, that wasn't important. Thinking about it now, all of it could have been overheard from the beginning when Oishi-san met me. Just as Mion said, I couldn't hide anything. Then, what were they trying to tell me? That part was obvious. They were warning me not to say anything unnecessary. What did they deem unnecessary? I only talked with Oishi-san about one thing, and they were warning me that that was unnecessary. What was it that Oishi-san talked to me about? The incidents involving Oyashiro-sama's curse that occurred every year weren't individual cases, but were connected as a whole, as well as the fact that there may be multiple perpetrators hidden within Hinamizawa. No, more precisely, that Mion, Reina, Satoko, and Rika-chan were all suspicious. Is that what they were warning me against? What kind of nonsense am I thinking about? I hit my own face hard enough that it let out a slap. If only that would make me awake from this nightmare. But for some reason it felt like I was punching a blanket. It was almost laughably painless. Calm down, Keiichi Maebara. When did I become such a pessimist? Calm down. Settle down and sort things out. The reason Mion knew I was eating lunch with Oishi-san was probably because somebody from Hinamizawa just happened to be there at the time. They must have told Mion that I was there. That made the most sense. Plus, come to think of it, she didn't ask me where I ate lunch, did she? She only asked, was it good? They were just curious, since I was together with someone not from Hinamizawa. It's not as if they had any ulterior motives. That's it. That has to be it. Thinking about it that way was the same with Reina. I was just being strangely ambiguous about when I met with Oishi-san, and Reina was just correcting me on that. That's when I was bewildered by the change in character from the usual mild-mannered Reina, and was just startled by it. It's the most natural way of thinking about it. Felt like my mind was mixed up in like a tangled mess of spaghetti. Deep red marinara sauce would have poured out of my nose and ears if you squeezed my head. Thinking that, I suddenly felt like vomiting. Really didn't want that to happen, so I stopped holding my head. Lately, I had no idea what anyone was saying. Spending time with them was fun. Didn't feel like there was any sort of hidden agenda. I really do think that they're a good bunch of people. When I just moved here and couldn't make heads or tails of everything, they were really kind to me. Reina was really kind and always looked after me. As long as that strange affliction didn't rear its ugly head, she was really pretty cute. Mion is also a really good person. She didn't care about anyone's age or gender and was optimistic and outgoing. I was never bored when I was with her. And talking of not getting bored, rambunctious Satoko was a good person for that too. She was pretty bratty, but that was just the way she interacted with others. Rika-chan was the same way. She didn't speak often, but that didn't mean she was always silent. They were my friends. But after hearing of the better untold secrets of Hinamizawa from Oishi-san and Tomitake-san, when I was told about Oyashiro-sama's curse, things started going crazy. Then hearing from Oishi-san that Mion, Reina, Satoko, and Rika-chan were all suspicious, after that everyone changed. That's right. It all started getting weird after Oishi-san told me all that strange stuff. That time, I really should have just not listened to those weird stories. And I even shouldn't have heard about the past incidents from Tomitake-san the night of the Watanagashi. If I just hadn't gotten that strange sense of curiosity, if I just hadn't... That's right. So that's why they killed Tomitake-san. The impudent outsiders speaking to the likes of me after everybody went out of their way to keep it a secret from me. They'll probably kill Oishi-san as well, for trying to unearth what everybody was warning me was better left buried. Besides that, he was unforgivable for spewing words that made me doubt the others. Of course, a guy like that is going to be killed. Both Tomitake-san and Oishi-san were nothing but outsiders after all. They were entities who couldn't coexist with the people of Hinamizawa. Those guys should just fall to Oyashiro-sama's curse and just die. It wasn't their fault. It was my fault for not being able to hold back my curiosity. It wasn't their fault. 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 Sir, the amounts of copium coming from your bloodstream right now are astronomical. Insanity. Insanity. I settled into a daze. It was a lethargic feeling like I had just gotten up, but the ominous chill that haunted me had subsided. I was fine now. I was no longer frightened. I had completely recovered. I'll go to school tomorrow, right as rain. I'll greet everyone. I'll take part in club activities. It'll definitely be fun. It had to be fun. I was one of them, after all. Ah, that reminds me. I need to eat those mochi. I hope I'm able to tell which one Reina made. I remember the homework the two brought with them when they visited me. But wow, our club did deliver. That was something else. Picked up the package I dropped on the floor and headed into the living room. It would be nice, I guess, to have some tea with it, to fill my mouth with mochi while drinking tea. Oh, this was quite a delectable situation I was in. Opening up the newspaper wrapping, there were 5 plump red bean paste mochi fit snugly inside. There were letters written from left to right on the newspaper, A, B, C, D, and E. Now then, they said Raina made one of these. I wonder which one. There wasn't much difference in how they looked. They smelled and appeared about the same. This was a pretty difficult problem. The biggest difference was probably their shape. I wasn't sure what kind of person Mion's grandma was, but Raina had to be different from hers. Looking carefully, I could see one mochi that was made very neatly. So well, that, just by staring at it, one could tell it stood out. Looks like this challenge depends on whether or not this one's Raina's. Calm down and think even harder. Mion had said her grandma made a ton of them and was told to give some out. If I remember correctly. So that means 4 of these were from that large batch. Then what about Raina? She probably only made one. She probably spent quite a bit of time on it, meaning the one Raina had made was this one. E. For a moment, I thought it might have been a trap Mion laid, as she knew I'd pick up on it, but that probably wasn't the case. I wouldn't be so sure if I knew Mion had made it. But since she said Raina made it, it probably wasn't a trap. Alright. My tea is ready too. I'll start with the defending champ, Mion's grandma. Let's see. Not bad. The smooth bean paste and soft, chewy texture left little to be desired. The tea I drank afterwards also accentuated the experience. This was an exquisite piece of work. Now, how about Raina's? The creation was so delicate one would think it was a high-class Japanese dessert. Since I normally had quite the appetite, I was slightly worried about the size of the portion. But well, first a bite. This was quite a difficult one to judge, actually. The ingredients were exactly the same, so there was little difference in flavor. What was different was how it was shaped at the end, so it was to be expected. So the deciding factor would be presentation and volume. The well-formed and well-sized champion versus Raina the challenger. With the size you just couldn't get enough of. I'd only had one bite of Raina's. I would probably have to wait until after I was done eating to make my decision. Maybe there was something hidden inside that could cause an upset. Choo-choo. Seems my prediction was right. My tongue touched something. Didn't feel like something edible, so I reached in with my fingers and grabbed it. What? What was this? Before I could fully comprehend what it was, I threw away the rest of the mochi I was eating as fast as I could. It slammed against the wall, causing the bean jam to splatter. Then, after sticking for a moment, it slid down to the floor. I was dumbstruck by my own actions. What was I doing? Raina had gone out of her way to make it for me. How could I? Dumbstruck, I looked down at the hand that performed such a vile act, and I remembered what I had taken out of my mouth. At first, I thought it was hair. Even though it was shorter than Mion's, Raina's hair was still quite long, and it wasn't this short. It was also a bit too hard to be hair, just thick enough to roll around on my tongue. There was a bit of a metallic sheen on the end of it. Ah, yes, there was a hole for where the thread goes through, like it was a sewing needle. Yes, that's right. It looked very much like a sewing needle. Exactly like one. The end was pointed as well, quite sharply. It really did look just like a sewing needle. Huh? What did I mean by it looked very much like a sewing needle just a bit ago? I couldn't answer, but a voice inside me already knew and let me know by chattering my molars together. I couldn't stave off the terror welling up inside me. Suddenly, I tasted something metallic and felt prickling pain in the back of my throat. I stuck the fingers in the back of my mouth and felt around to see if I was bleeding. Suddenly, I felt the urge to vomit. The sharp taste of bile irritated the back of my throat. I clasped both hands over my mouth, and after writhing in agony, I was somehow able to hold back the nausea. I was finally able to breathe normally again, but this time my heart was intensely throbbing. Then it finally registered. Exactly what was mixed with the mochi. But I could think of the correct word. My hands were already on the move. Splat, plop, splurt. I tossed the rest of the mochi against the wall. The geometrical patterns of the scattered bean jam on the wall suddenly invoked a terrible omen in my mind. After looking away, I dashed out of the hall and flew upstairs to my room, where I stayed under the covers until morning. I clutched my own shoulder, howling madly in a mix of anger, sadness, and frustration. Okay. Pause real quick. Okay, pause real motherfucking quick. Tell me why this dude did not immediately call the detective the second there was something in his mochi. I don't care if bro is a police officer or if bro is sleeping. The second that those girls showed up and gave me mochi, I would have called the cops. I would have called him. I don't know why we playing. I don't know why we acting like these girls ain't do some shit. They're connected in very prominent ways, and you're just gonna accept food from them after they've discovered you. You're just gonna take food from them. Silly, but okay, whatever. I clutched my own shoulder, howling madly in a mix of fear, anger, sadness, and frustration. This wasn't a threat, or warning, or reminder, nothing as simple as that. What had happened in Hinamizawa? What is happening in Hinamizawa? What would happen? I didn't know the answer to any of those questions. Where did I break a taboo? Regardless, now Reina and Mion, and others, they considered me an enemy, and they thought I should just die. I won't let you kill me. Not for such a pointless reason. Fell into a restless sleep as I was crushed by my negative emotions. It was as if I was being drawn into a billowing, bottomless marsh. Crazy that he didn't call him immediately. Actual insanity. Like, why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? Like, why would you even play with that at all? At all. New tips. God. What's a drug that makes you commit suicide? Let's figure it out. Let's learn. Let's cut to the chase. Is there a drug that can cause someone to kill themselves? Not directly, no. That's quite a roundabout response. You're saying there's one that does it indirectly? Something that puts you into a suicidal mental state like that? That's hard to say. What would a suicidal mental state be? Like a person with a serious bipolar disorder. It's believed that people are most likely to attempt suicide when swinging from depression to mania. That makes sense. Clinical depression and bipolar disorders are different. Clinical depression indicates a prolonged state of depression, whereas bipolar disorder is characterized by a passive depressive state accompanied by a very active manic state. Individuals with clinical depression suffer from low self-esteem and are quite pessimistic, but rarely commit suicide. They do not have the willpower to commit suicide, nor does mania on its own lead to suicide. That has an opposite effect, filling the person with confidence and making them feel as though they're walking on air. Thus, they do not commit suicide. That's interesting. Neither state causes suicide, but when the condition changes, they might do so. There is a desire to commit suicide when in a state of depression, but they do not have the willpower to commit such a formidable act. But when they enter mania, they gain a burst of willpower and their body moves as they desire. I see. So it means they gain the willpower to commit suicide. That's how it goes. That's actually pretty interesting. That's why patients are given sedatives during the time to keep them from acting on their impulses. When was Tomitake bipolar? People who suffer from bipolar disorders generally commit suicide by more civilized means. Like, say, hanging or jumping off of a building. Self-harm as though going through withdrawal is completely different. Tomitake's death wasn't civilized, so anyone would think it was caused by some foreign substance. As I said from the start, tell me of a drug that causes someone to commit suicide. There are reports that methamphetamine overdoses produce a condition that resembles bipolar disorder. It's a stimulant. Barbiturate? Overdoses are also reported to cause erratic behavior. That's a sleep aid. There were no signs of stimulants. Are there any other possibilities? All I can think of is that it's some sort of illness. Something like Graves' disease, which affects the thyroid and is known to cause symptoms that resemble bipolar disorder. But Graves' disease has many characteristic symptoms of its own. The deceased exhibited none of them. I wonder if there's something that could happen more spontaneously? Something that fits this case and would cause someone to want to commit suicide all of a sudden? Are you familiar with organic mental disorders? In short, it's a condition where the brain is out of whack due to physical injury or illness. It can be caused by drugs, but it can also be caused by physical trauma, encephalitis, a stroke, or even tumors. Basically, even without a drug, one can succumb to an irregular mental state. The deceased was surrounded after being chased, and his life was in danger, right? All that stress could have messed with his brain chemistry. He could have hit his head, and those factors combined might have caused him to mutilate himself. It's a possibility. Could you explain it to me in simpler terms? Basically, he knocked his noggin in the brawl that made him go haywire. Nah! Then this lady didn't have any intent to kill. Just smacked him in a bad place when he nicked some change. The two plump men laughed hoarsely. But of course it's not like that. Undoubtedly. If it was habitual drug use, if it was something mental, the deceased bodies hold the key. There is nothing on the body. How are things on your end? Oh my goodness, look at the time. I need to get back soon or Kuma-chan will be angry with me. Yeah, good luck. Best wishes. Best wishes. They're getting closer. They're getting closer. Threat. Ooh. Those guys just now, they had national diet badges. Then it's Prefectural Assembly member and City Councilor Sonozaki. That's interesting. The Prefectural Assembly member and City Councilor are related. It's dirty is what it is. Shouting out each other's name during elections. While one is up for election, the other one holds an assembly, and they double up their campaign activities. Blatantly. I don't know how much about this stuff, but isn't that against the rules of the election? As long as they have no prior consultation, there are no restrictions on their political activities. Kuma-chan, Kuma-chan, the investigation division is going to be pretty tough for you. You should at least brush up on election policies. I'm not suited for the intelligence division, 'cause I'm dumb. Bruh. There was Prefectural Assembly member Sonozaki and City Councilor Sonozaki. Also, the mayor of Hinamizawa. All of them involved in the Sonozaki family. Oh, that's... What crap. Yeah, what he said, what crap. Looks like they were seen off by the department chief and the deputy chief. It came to me. That night when the chief invited me along to get some Odin, I thought that was it. You have a lot of connections, so you might have heard something. Did you? Nope. Not a thing. Ma'am, I'll take the tofu fritter and the fish cake. A counselor barked at me in the police chief's stead. Oh my, is that so? Ma'am, I'll take another bowl. Prefectural Assembly member Sonozaki and City Councilor Sonozaki were both intimidating. Our snot-nosed career police chief couldn't even handle being yelled at by them. They're like Yakuza. Funny. Petition with your name came up regarding how the investigation of Hinamizawa incident is being handled. Goodness me. I've not the faintest. No need to play dumb. You're reopening the past cases regarding Hinamizawa, aren't you? I already got my hands full with Tomitake's death, actually. Nah. Really? If that's true, then there's no problem. There was a period of silence. While we were silent, he made headway on our food and drink. That's suspicious. Whew, that was quite the feast. This month has been a bunch of losses for me, so my wallet was feeling the pinch. Much appreciated. Nah, it's nothing. Tell me a good horse again. I'll bet on the same one as you. Nah, haha. I haven't been doing well there lately. I haven't been able to read the horses at all. Taxi! I'm going by train. The police chief is taking a taxi. I have my own car, but I'd rather be rash to drive it home. But it'd be rather rash to drive it home. Can't blow it right before retirement with a DUI. Even though he could still rattle off, it looked like his legs were already goo. Pushing him into the cab, I gave the driver the police chief's address. We'll see you again tomorrow. Happy New Year. Oishi-san. Yeah. The past incidents have all been closed. Stop lumping them all together. Those villagers half believe it's really a curse. Well, I'm not convinced. You're going to be retiring next year, aren't you? Aren't you going to pay off your mortgage with your pension and move up to Hokkaido with your mom? Mother pines to return to the land of her birth. It's the least I could do. And the pension, well, it'll let me enjoy myself while in Susukino? Nah. The police chief may issue a special retirement salary raise, he says. Public servants' pension is calculated based on their monthly salary. So if you're to get a raise right between retirement before your bonus, 2 years' salary would be inflated, and you get a heavy surplus of funds. That tends to be how it's done around here. Of course, it's not a custom that's thought of highly. The difference between the bonus and the pension is quite a bit. I'd expect nothing less exemplary from our egghead chief. But, well, they say our salary is compensation for our hard work, but in the end, it really just has to do with the passage of time. It's not something I can laugh at, but I'll laugh through it anyway. I don't think it's anything exemplary. But given how hard you've been working, it's not odd that you're getting that much of a pension. I'd like to get that much myself. If I can get it, well, of course I'd want it. Nah, you'll get it. You're an adult after all. Sorry for holding you up here, driver. Thank you very much. Closed the door roughly, interrupting the chief's conversation a bit rudely. Looked like the chief still had something to say, but he just smiled wryly and waved. I waved in return. The cab sped up gradually and soon disappeared among the sea of lights. That's suspicious. Nah. Oh man. I wonder if I really can repay that loan. That's suspicious. I just spit. That was gross. That was really gross. I'm so sorry. So sorry.